Before I start this video, I'd like to state for the record, I don't condone gambling and I don't promote gambling on my channel. With that being said,
I can't stop winning. I can't stop winning. I can't stop winning. Oh, dang it.
Caving is a game made by Fun Before Nan and Nissan for the Brackeys 2026.1 Game Jam. The game is described by the creators as a dark roguelike where every spin could be your last. Truly a terrifying fate.
Oh, dang it.
You play as this adorable little miner who just wants to make an honest living. Unfortunately, the cave is filled with monsters, as all good video game caves are, and you need to defend yourself. The core of the gameplay is built around this beautiful rectangle at the top of the screen. You pull on this little handle thing at the side, and it generates these tools which will fall down onto the grid of blocks and enemies, dealing damage until the tools break. The different tools have various strengths and weaknesses, so you can swap two of them once per spin to get a more favorable outcome. After you drop the tools, the enemies have their turn to deal damage to you. Now there isn't any way to avoid taking damage aside from getting armor points, which is basically temporary health that you can get from breaking these little armors or using certain items. Some of them have additional effects they may employ, but hovering over any item at the top or anything on the grid lets you see exactly what they do, which is very useful. I always get such a sense of satisfaction seeing a perfect lineup of tools come onto the slots in the rectangle at the top. And every time I get a bad outcome with those pesky red X's, it just drives the anticipation for the next time that I get a good spin. It's always a good sign when the core of your gameplay is just so addicting. You know what I mean? Between rounds, you are taken to a shop, check it off your roguelike bingo cards, where you can buy upgrades and items. There are 3 rows of items that you can buy from. The bottom row is once-off consumables, where you can hold up to 3 of these at a time and use them before or after you've pulled the lever. The middle row is tools which are added to the rectangle at the top. It's a good idea to steadily purchase these because the more of these there are, the less the red X's appear. The top row is perks. These are permanent upgrades to your character. They are the most expensive items to buy, but most of them are a huge benefit to your character and well worth the cost. At this point I would go through all of the items and what they do, but there are so many that I haven't used all of them even after 3 playthroughs, so I think I'm just going to highlight some of my favorites. The knife is a very handy item. It deals 3 damage to an enemy of your choosing, which is really helpful if there's a low health enemy stuck at the bottom of the grid. This can save multiple turns of taking damage from something which would have been taken care of if it was at the top of the grid. The wand is another tool which can be very situationally useful, as it duplicates an item of your choosing on the grid, meaning that you can put an extra coin or armor in place of a block like the tough stone block. And in terms of good tools, all of the tools are useful to buy, but I think that the piggy bank and the hard hat giving you extra money or defense when they break are really helpful longer term, and they do definitely make the breaking of the tools feel more satisfying. For the perks, the best one is definitely the bandage. There aren't that many ways in the game to restore health, so being able to get 3 health back every time you don't swap any tools is definitely more than worth the 20 gold it costs. However, the wallet, which gives you money whenever you take damage, and the treasure chest, which gives you one-off consumables at the start of every round, are also standouts among the perks. As with a lot of games I cover, I absolutely love the visuals and audio for this game. I really think that the CRT television effect over the whole thing adds a really nice touch of visual polish, and it almost kind of gives the game an NES or Atari aesthetic. The music also adds to the atmosphere that the game is trying to create. It brings this kind of dark and moody tone, which really does make it feel as though every spin could be your last. There's this countdown which appears at the end of every round until you reach the boss. This is helpful for building anticipation, however there isn't much more to this boss fight compared to the rest of the encounters in the game, aside from the fact that it spawns some of the basic spider enemies, but it was a nice challenge. I do think that the challenge of the final encounter is somewhat mitigated when the boss does 4 damage and the bandage perk lets you heal 3 health every turn, but if you wish to challenge yourself you can always play without it, check it off your roguelike bingo cards. I think that if the developer decides to pursue this game any further, there's definitely more room for effects among the future bosses that might appear. I do also think that there is room for more than 8 levels, and I would love to see an expansion of this game's mechanics across more difficult and intricate scenarios and boards. Of course, as with all Game Jam games, it is a good sign when the main issue with the game is that I wanted more of what was already great about it. I mean, seriously, there is something about pulling that lever on this rectangle that is just so satisfying. Like, even when I've taken heavy losses, I just have to keep on going, because I know that a big payout is around the corner. A bit like life, you know? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, go check out the game and support the creators, the link is in the description. Also, Fun Before Nan recently released a demo for their other project, Depth of Mind, on Steam. It looks really cool, and if you enjoy turn-based strategy games or games with a really cool and unique style, you should go and check it out. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with cool, free, independent game projects, make sure to subscribe and let me know your thoughts on this game down in the comments. I would love to know what people thought of this game.